Ow. Ew.
Want relief from tough pain without the tough taste? Try Goody's Cool Orange. Goody's fast, Goody's delicious. Because pain relief shouldn't be a pain to take. Goody's flavors, taking the pain out of pain relief.
You went, you served, and forged the relationships that only being baptized in the fire of combat can develop. At FallInVeteran.com, we understand the unique bond that veterans share. That's why we've created a platform where you can connect, share experiences, and build lifelong friendships with fellow veterans. Signing up is easy. Simply visit www.fall-in-veteran.com and create your profile. Customize it to reflect your military service, interests, and hobbies. FallInVeteran.com is more than just an online community. It's a support network where you can find resources, advice, and encouragement from those who understand what you've been through. Whether you're looking for camaraderie, mentorship, or simply a place to share your stories, FallInVeteran.com has it all. Join thousands of veterans who have already found their tribe and start connecting today. FallInVeteran.com. Come join us and experience the power of community. Sign up now at www.fall-in-veteran.com.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA Super Cup Series. My name is Brian Britt. Of course, Big Al is going to be my co-commentator here tonight as we tackle the streets of Chicago. This is going to be interesting. We're going to be turning laps around this circuit that is built in downtown Chicago. I can't wait. Definitely, I think we're going to see a lot of guys colliding with the wall. But how are you doing tonight, Big Al?
I tell you what, Brian, I am doing outstanding. Super excited too, especially to be back at the Chicago road course with the addition of the new damage model. I think that's going to make this a pretty spectacular show.
I think you're right. That's something I didn't even think of, Big Al. I saw iRacing, of course, had a video they put out earlier in the week, I do believe, where they kind of showed the damage model off. And just the collisions were, I think, breathtaking, I think, would be the best way to describe them. And I think that's what's going to be tonight. I mean, this place is full of walls. There's walls everywhere. And I think we're going to see that new damage model in action here. You're probably wondering, why are we doing a race at Chicago Street Course when, of course, the iRacing A cars are at the at Auto Club Speedway this week? Well, back in July 4th, or should I say the July 4th week there, we actually took that week off here in the ISCA. So in order to make sure that we got the race in that follows the NASCAR schedule, we relocated this race to today. And so glad to be here at Chicago. Just wanted to make sure everybody was aware. And so everyone has had a lot of time to really get acclimated to this racetrack.
Absolutely, Brian. But you know what? This is one of those tracks where I don't think it really matters how much time you spent. You just still need more time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is definitely a very tough racetrack. 12 corners around this place. Of course, a lot of 90-degree turns here as well as some, kind of roundabout areas that are just kind of hard to navigate through, and walls. As I talked about, walls, I think that's going to be the conversation point all night long. It's just talking about guys smashing into the wall. All it takes, me and the producer, Kobe Jordan, were talking right before the broadcast actually began, and we were just saying that, all it takes is one lapse in judgment, just a momentary lapse in judgment, split second to where you're not paying attention to what you're doing, and there's a wall that's right there to meet you. And we talked about that damage model. Well, that we're going to see that play out here tonight. If you hit that wall hard enough, you're out of the race. There is no fast repairs here in this series.
Yep, one thing is going to be certain, though, is the wall threat is real. And like you said, Brian, it is going to be on both sides. So this isn't a place that you can really even sneeze or just relax. You've really got to stay on the tip of the pin the entire time.
And qualifying, of course, now has begun. We're going to have, I do believe, a 10-minute qualifying session to give these guys ample opportunity to turn some laps, to get, of course, their qualifying lap in. So far, Brandon Pasolaco has been the fastest driver throughout practice. He was able to hit a minute 27.09, I do believe it was, which is insanely fast around this place. I would not be surprised that as the tires, or should I say the fuel runs out of these machines, we'll see even faster laps than that, probably 126.9, possibly even 126.8. Definitely a possibility. But let's look at the details of tonight's race, and let's see, what should we expect? It's going to be a 100-mile race here tonight. Does not sound like a lot, and it's not really a lot. This is going to be somewhat of a shorter race here tonight, considering the actual Cup race at this track was quite short as well. 47 laps at this place. Of course, stages are going to be 9. So at the conclusion of lap 9, starting lap 10, that is when a caution flag will wave, concluding stage 1. Then, of course, the same thing is true for stage 2, 21 going to 22. And, of course, stage points will be given out to the top 10 in those stages. Now, we don't have a whole lot of drivers here tonight because everybody is very intimidated from tracks like this. So there is an ample opportunity to get stage points here tonight when other people haven't shown up. I do want to mention 4 sets of tires, 3 actually down in the pits to change into. So that 4 is, of course, including the one that is on the car already in qualifying here. Of course, fuel window is 25 laps. Now, I just want to look at that number. We see 25 laps. 21 plus 25 is, I do believe, 46. And that leaves you, I do believe, 1 or 2 laps shy of the end of the race. But I do also want to mention that we will be under caution once, for a couple of those laps before we go back green. So I do think there is a distinct possibility that you can make it on fuel in that final stage if you play your cards right. If there's maybe, we've seen it before at road courses, so maybe you do a little bit of clutching. Maybe you just back off your corners a little bit. Some of these guys are masters at saving gas.
So here's the next question, Brian. Is this a must qual, need to qual, or I'm not going to qual track?
I think that really just depends on your comfort level. I mean, it really just depends. How good am I at this track? If you're good at this track, if you feel like you can be consistent, yes, you must qualify. If you are not comfortable, if you do not feel like you can be consistent, I would not qualify because you don't want to be in front of someone that is much faster than you, and then you end up wrecking them and wrecking yourself as well. I got to say, I think that question should be based on how comfortable are you. Of course, we see some of the first laps are starting to come in. Brandon Passalacqua hits a 1:27.229. He is the fastest man on track at the moment. One thing about it, I do want to mention about Brandon Passalacqua, though, Big Al. Remember last time we were at a road course, Brandon had a chance to possibly win the race, but he did not successfully or efficiently save enough gas. That was his downfall. That was where he lacked, where drivers like Matt DeCiani and Abner Acosta, they were successful at doing that. Could that play into tonight's race as well? Just want to remember, he even said that was something. He feels like he's got speed at these road courses, but just does not feel like he has the ability to save his resources. So is that something that Brandon's been working on? I think that's going to be something we're going to answer here tonight.
Yeah, not all road courses are created, equally, so to speak. So we're really watching to see what Brandon can do, because I do think he has his groove back, Brian. I think he is going to be a contender here tonight. Like you said, looking at the times overall, he's number 2 right now on the board, but you never can count this guy out.
Yeah, that's interesting. You talk about him being number 2. Things have changed here. Paul Hill was, I do believe, second quick in practice. He was able to hit, I do believe, a 127.1 in practice. He has bettered that lap, or bested that lap in qualifying, a 127.086 from Paul Hill. And if you recall, last time we were at the road course, I think it was Sonoma, I think was the last road course we were at. Paul Hill was actually in contention. He was very much in contention for that win. He showed a ton of speed there. Of course, Josh Schaffner, though, he's one that I think I'm very impressed with at the moment. Just saw him shoot up to that 3rd place position in the qualifying running order. He's never really struck me as a road course type driver, but it seems like he has been making a considerable effort to get better at these right turns and left turns. As he just actually moved up to 3rd place, 127.592. He out-qualified Matt DeCiani. And I think, I got to be honest, Matt DeCiani, as we see Kenny Powell go into the tire barrier there, DeCiani is probably one of our favorite road course racers. He's one of I think he's got the most wins on road courses in the ISCA.
Yeah, that's awesome. Also, wanting to see, is Abner in the field tonight? Something is amiss. Don't see his name on the board, so not sure what's really going on with that as well.
That's a really good question. I thought that same thing, Big Al. Well, of course, I definitely raised that same question. Abner Acosta, we were talking about, Matt DeCiani being kind of the road course favorite and king of the ISCA. Well, another person that has cemented himself as challenging for that crown would be Abner Acosta. I mean, every time we see Abner on a road course, he's usually out front. And so that's kind of a big deal as well. I was hoping Abner was going to show up. If he does, he still has a couple minutes. If he still signs up and shows up in this field, he's going to have to drive his way through a lot of traffic. Of course, another driver that has registered for the race is Patrick Gitter. Gitter in the 21 has not turned a qualifying lap yet, and looks like he is not going to. I think he's going to be starting in the back. Clayton Hoffman, we talked to him last week at Indianapolis. He was able to win that race and just absolutely dominating fashion, if you recall. Clayton was the only one that was able to really pull away. I mean, he just drove away at Indianapolis, which is something you do not usually see at draft tracks such as those. But he did. He was completely honest, Big Al, with us when we talked to him. He said, I do not have a chance to win that race at Chicago. I am not a road course racer. And we'll have to wait and see what he can do. I know the practice laps he was able to turn, it seemed like he was around that 1:30-second mark. So that'll be kind of a question mark beside him as we're watching, I do believe, Nick King turn some laps here. He's at the moment qualified in that 10th place position. And I do believe, let's actually go through the point standings while we have a moment. I think that was a good time before we move over to the national anthem. Of course, Brandon Pasalacqua at the top of the board right now. You can just see the consistency in his stats. 2 wins, 14 top fives. He's got 16 playoff points. He's 819 points right now, 47 points over Brian Johnson. Of course, Matt DeSanti sits in 3rd, Patrick Gitter in 4th, Derek Heitman 5th, Randy Mullins is in 6th, Josh Schaffner 7th, Abner Acosta, who we were talking about a little bit earlier, he is in that 8th place position. Tim Wortman Jr. has been improving, I'd say, a ton this season. He's in 9th. Kenny Powell rounds out the top 10. So that's a look at the top 10 right now in the points. What I note about that is just look at the point spread that Pasalacqua has now over teammate Brian Johnson and the rest of the field. 47 points. That's impressive. I'll tell you, he is surely, I think, moving towards being championship favorite with the consistency that he's been showing. But with that, let's take a look at, of course, we'll pay some attention to our sponsors. But before that, we'll, of course, play our national anthem here in Chicago.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Race fans, it is time for those most famous words in motorsports.
Drivers, start your engines!
Ow. Ew. Ow. Ew.
Want relief from tough pain without the tough taste? Try Goody's Cool Orange. Goody's fast, Goody's delicious, because pain relief shouldn't be a pain to take. Goody's flavors, taking the pain out of pain relief.
where you can connect, share experiences, and build lifelong friendships with fellow veterans. Signing up is easy. Simply visit www.fall-in-veteran.com and create your profile. Customize it to reflect your military service interests and hobbies. FallInVeteran.com is more than just an online community. It's a support network where you can find resources, advice, and encouragement from those who understand what you've been through. Whether you're looking for camaraderie, mentorship, or simply a place to share your stories, FallInVeteran.com has it all. Join thousands of veterans who have already found their tribe and start connecting today. FallInVeteran.com. Come join us and experience the power of community. Sign up now at www.fall-in-veteran.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA Super Cup Series. As you can see, drivers are starting to roll now. We had some drivers, I do believe, elect to start in the pits, but I do believe everybody, everybody has made their way to the grid. Definitely excited to see these guys in action around this place. Definitely going to take a lap around to kind of get, I'd say, acclimated to, see what it feels like to get around this place under power. But let's go down through the starting grid to see what we are going to be looking for. Of course, Paul Hill, I do believe this is his first pole, if I'm not mistaken, in iRacing Stock Car Association history. Well, I could be wrong, but I do believe that's the case. Brandon Passalacqua, of course, starts in second place. Josh Schaffner in third, so very good qualifying effort for the Paradigm drivers. Matt Nisiani starts in fourth place. Tim Wortman Jr., he's been improving at all the road courses and the ovals. He starts fifth. Greg Wachinski, very good qualifying position for him, and he starts sixth. John Bender showing some pretty good speed here around the road course. He starts in seventh. Jay Hone in eighth. Matthew Cisna ninth. Nick King rounds out the top 10.
That's going to put Patrick Gitter in the 11th place with Clayton Hoffman on his outside 12. 13th place shows Derek Heitman. He's got Kenny Powell tagging along with him. And then rounding out that last line is going to be Paul Osen and Alexander Carr.
And you see this long straightaway right here. This is one of the places I think we're going to see a lot of excitement. You can see that these guys are going to be able to reach some really high speeds before we see these right turns. I think that's what's so dangerous about this place, Big Al, is you can get really up to, I'd say 170 probably mile an hour, 180 mile an hour before these corners. And that, is an opportunity for you to overdrive the race car. And of course, there's a wall there to meet you.
Yeah, by God, it looks like somebody done went and turned that thing into a 90-degree turn right at the end of it. That's just not going to be sporty no matter how fast you're going. Probably going to see some excitement tonight, imagining some guys might run into each other, maybe even bounce off the wall. I'm excited to see how this plays out. It's probably been a little bit of a long week for these drivers as well, because the only way they were going to practice this course was either in teams or, individual.
That's a good point. I mean, that is a really good point. Of course, the A Opens for this racetrack were a couple weeks ago, and that's a long time to, to remember, and you have to knock the rust off. So, like you said, you really have to go in and into a testing session or something like that to really get good at this track.
Down and away.
Yep, time to get it underway. Green flag is out for the first time here in Chicago. And, of course, it seems Paul Hill going to lead us into turn number one. As he's able to kind of wide arc the corner. I think we're going to see all big problems. already with problems. We got Greg Wychinski's bumper bouncing all over the racetrack.
Yeah, that was a 19 car, Jay Hone. I mean, he literally hit the wall head on.
And you see Greg Wychinski just sailing into the wall right there. I love this view here. You can just tell he wants to get everything he can. He's racing with John Binder. Oh, whoa! This wasn't even Wychinski's fault. This was John Binder that came up and just smashed into the back end of the 5 machine. Let's look on board. Let's look to the cockpit of Binder here.
Isn't that John? Isn't that Jay Home?
I'm sorry.
Jay
That
Home,
is
yeah,
Jay
okay.
Home. I'm sorry to say Bender. That's not Bender. This is the 19. What happens here?
He just blew the turn, Brian. Looks like he got attacked from behind by the 15.
He might have got hit himself.
Can we look at that one more again? The seat from the 15.
Right?
Okay, there it is, the 21 car. Oh,
Wow,
yeah.
Patrick Gitter gets into Hone, multi-layer incident right there. Looks like Alexander Carr with an issue as he misses the corner into the barriers there. So already we're seeing a ton of excitement. Of course, Carr now back to 15th, which is last.
We got pieces and parts flying everywhere here, Brian, tonight.
And you see Carr tries to send it underneath the 3 of Nick King and just locks it up. Just locks it right up and into that wall. Great job from our producer, Kobe Jordan, able to bring us all the action as we watch the race for lead. Paul Hill in control at the moment. We have completed a 1 lap. We're on now lap 2. We've already seen a lot of drivers making mistakes. I think Clayton Hoffman just made an exit. I think something maybe have happened with the 92. He now moves to last.
Yeah, Greg Wychinski's also down on pit road.
Yeah, Greg Wychinski, of course, we saw massive damage for him. He hit the wall. And I'm looking here to see exactly what happened with Clayton. So Clayton actually just, no wreck for Clayton Hoffman. He just takes a tow.
Yeah, and he is disconnected as well as Derek Heitman. Still got the 18 of Derek Alexander car, receiving repairs behind the wall. But Greg Wychinski, his car is fixed, and he is back underway.
I wouldn't say fixed. I think I don't think that would be the word I'd use. I think that they may have worked on it. Maybe they put some bubble gum or something to try to get that thing working a little bit better, but it definitely is not fixed. And isn't that just a shame, Big Al, to have that in turn 1? Not even, Greg Wychinski qualified in 6th place for this race, and already he's running in 14th because of issues, between the 21 and the 19.
But Brian, that is racing. That's the reason why we run all of the laps, and you got to see how you're gonna fare. Greg's just not doing too well.
Yeah, definitely not. But of course, still a long way to go, and Greg's not out of it yet. We got to keep in mind we still do have stage cautions that are going to come up on coming from lap 9 to 10. And that will give him a chance to get some more repairs completed, as well as, catch back up to the rest of the field. Watching this heated battle, though, between Paul Hill and Brandon Pasalago. This is going to be, I think, a close battle all race long. I think these guys are very close when it comes to pace. Looking at lap times, last time by, Pasalago was about a 1/10.5 faster than Paul Hill. But it's just one thing about this track. It's incredibly difficult to pass. You're going to have to get out of your comfort zone to make a pass. Also want to talk about we're having a battle between the 3rd place and 4th place driver, Josh Schaffner. They're not too far from each other as well. DeCiani, very fast at these sorts of road courses. But I got to be honest, Schaffner looks a little bit quicker right now. And that's saying something. I think Schaffner has put a little bit of nose to the grindstone. I think he's been really working on honing his craft on these road courses.
Well, that's what it's going to take, Brian. You have to have a relentless pursuit of perfection. That's the only thing that's going to get you to the level of some of these drivers that we have out here tonight, because you just can't be perfect on one lap. You have to be perfect on every single lap for the entire race, And so, yeah, heads, kudos to those guys.
Do want to mention Alexander Carr has made, he has exited the session here. I think he is now back in 14th, a lap down, and I do believe he has exited the race car. They're packing that car back up on the hauler. Greg Wyszynski, though, has a little bit of a conundrum here. He might go a lap down if he doesn't speed up a little bit.
Can we find out what happened to Jay Holm?
Looks like Jay Holm might have had an issue here. That is Greg Wyszynski we're looking at there. I think Jay Holm might have had an issue, though. We'll find out exactly what happened. It's on pit road. I'm seeing Jay Holm is on pit road.
Yeah, the 19's on pit road. And he is showing the meatball flag, so I'm just trying to figure out where that occurred.
Yeah, of course, we do see the damage that he had from lap 1, that lap 1 incident, turn 1 incident. So I'm not sure if that has something to do with it.
Well, he's underway now.
I think so. Maybe it seems like he has popped down pit road to get a little bit of that fixed, and it seems like you said, he's back on the racetrack.
Now, we just got just a little over halfway here in stage 1, and it's interesting because the leaders are slowly, that snake is catching his tail, if you will. So I think it's going to be a long day for a lot of drivers, man. Just watching this first iteration of laps go down, I don't think everybody's happy as they would like to be.
Oh, I would say that's an understatement. I think a lot of these drivers have really not liked the cards that have been dealt. I mean, in turn 1, the cards were dealt terribly. I mean, clearly Greg Wyszynski was, up in the top 10, and now he's back in 12th. But I got to say, even though, like you said, a lot of these drivers probably not happy with the way this has turned out, I got to say, though, as well, that they're not giving up. I think that shows a lot of character as well for like a Greg Wyszynski, a Jay Holm. Jay could easily have called it quits, hung up the wheel. Same thing for Greg Wyszynski. Could have easily hung up the wheel. But these guys are like, no, I got a season to run. If I lose points here, I've lost points down the road. And, of course, the battle for the lead has still stayed very hot at the moment. They've within a second of one another. Of course, John Schaffner has fallen back quite a bit, though, from Passalacqua. So you could definitely tell, I think, the cream of the crop, the cream is rising to the top here. That the cream is Paul Hill and Brandon Passalacqua.
No doubt, Brian. And if you got a car that's really handling well, I mean, you're having a completely different situation than the other guys. It's like, for those people that know how to swim versus the people that are terrified of water. Well, these guys right here, that looks like they're expert swimmers.
Yeah, they're Olympic-level swimmers down here. Michael Phelps out here racing. And, yeah, this is a track that I think is just incredibly difficult. I mean, look at the finesse that you have to be able to display at this racetrack. I mean, if you don't know this place, you're going to hit the wall. In order to be fast, you have to know this place. And you also have to be confident as well. Because, I mean, all it takes is one little mistake and you're into the wall. And all of these corners require you to run the entire racetrack. That means getting close to that wall and trying to, get on that gas as quick as you can on the exit. And that can cause you to smack the wall. So that's where that confidence comes in.
It's almost like that wall.
Go ahead.
It's almost like the wall reaches out and grabs these guys and pulls them in. Because, it's almost like he didn't hit the wall grabbed him. It's like there's a wall magnet.
I'll tell you, they don't hit it intentionally. I know that. I know they don't want to hit it. That's for sure. They wished that there was something that would keep them from hitting it, some sort of magnetic field that would push them away from it. But unfortunately, that is not the case. You hit these walls. But, of course, the battle has started heating up for that third-place position. Josh Schaffner has gotten caught by Matt DeCiani. Now, interesting enough, Schaffner's last lap at 128.5. So even though Schaffner I think his fastest lap is faster than Matt DeCiani. One thing that we discussed before the race began was how consistency is key at tracks like this. And Schaffner does not appear to have the same consistency that DeCiani does. You can see
You
the
know, you
lap
got the
time.
43-year Paul Olsen. He's going to be down on pit road. Maybe he's kind of short putting the stage, but the leaders were on him, so obviously he kind of got out of their way by going down pit road. Hope he stays with this thing and doesn't click out, but we'll be watching him.
Yeah, it looks like he has popped down pit road. He's in his box as we speak. So not exactly sure what his plans are for the future here. Did he just do that, like you said, to get out of the way? Or is he taking full service? Is he going to rejoin the field? Looks like he's getting some damage repaired. I do see that a little bit of the fenders are getting worked on. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised that he may have hit the wall as well. I don't think anybody in this race is probably not. I think everybody's going to hit the wall at least once. You know, you've heard of the Darlington stripe. Now you're going to hear the Chicago stripe.
Yeah, definitely a lot going on down on the race service.
We might even call it. It ain't the Chicago stripe. It's going to be the Chicago dent. But Paul Hill out there on the racetrack. One thing I'd like to, he's out there in the lead, just led every lap so far. One thing that is interesting is, you know, these guys can run 25 laps on a tank of gas. Do they pit in between, you know, for stage one? Because, I mean, you really don't have to, just considering stage 2 ends on lap 21 going to 22.
Yeah, but I'm going to go back and say what I always say. It's the least, you're gonna reduce the amount of time you stay on pit road, in my opinion, based on filling up a half a tank versus a full tank.
That's true. You know, so some of these guys might come down, but that could also present an opportunity for some stage points for stage 2. If you're fast enough to kind of gain a spot or two by staying out, it could work out. I do want to mention Greg Wyszynski. He's in hot water right now. He's getting ready to be put a lap down, and I don't know. Is he going to get out of the way of these guys? Does he fight for this spot? I mean, last lap he was a minute 30 seconds. Looks like he is going to give the inside to Paul Hill.
I would love to see.
Hill into the wall. Oh, Greg Wyszynski into Pasalacqua. So that definitely was not a smooth transition.
No, I would love to see the tire wear on Wyszynski's front right, because, I mean, that thing's as bow-legged as I am.
Well, he almost made these vehicles a little bit more damaged as well. I mean, you see Paul Hill got into the wall. Brendan Pasalacqua got into Greg Wyszynski. That was not a graceful lap car pass.
Yeah, I don't think it was intentional either, though.
No, definitely not.
I don't think Greg coming up to the end of the first stage.
He was trying to get out of the way, but here we go. Yeah, you're right. I think this is going to complete stage number 1. And caution flag is out. Paul Hill, your stage 1 winner. Very close call there at the end of stage 1. You can see Brandon Pasalacqua was wanting to pounce on that position. But Pasalacqua comes home in 2nd. Josh Schaffner in 3rd. Matt DeCiani 4th. Tim Wortman Jr. in 5th. John Bender in 6th. Patrick Gitter in 7th. Matthew Cisna in 8th. Nick King in 9th. Kenny Powell works his way up to 10th place, and I do believe Greg Wyszynski did go a lap down, but he should be the lucky dog. We're going to go ahead and take a step away. We'll come right back as we get ready to get started in stage number 2.
Ow. Ew. Ow. Ew.
Want relief?
Ow. Ew. Ow. Ew.
Want relief from tough pain without the tough taste? Try Goody's Cool Orange. Goody's fast, Goody's delicious. Because pain...
You went, you served, and forged the relationships that only being baptized in the fire of combat can develop. At FallenVeteran.com, we understand the unique bond that veterans share. That's why we've created a platform where you can connect, share experiences, and build lifelong friendships with fellow veterans. Signing up is easy. Simply visit www.fall-in-veteran.com and create your profile. Customize it to reflect your military service, interests, and hobbies. FallenVeteran.com is more than just an online community. It's a support network where you can find resources, advice, and encouragement from those who understand what you've been through. Whether you're looking for camaraderie, mentorship, or simply a place to share your stories, FallenVeteran.com has it all. Join thousands of veterans who have already found their tribe and start connecting today. FallenVeteran.com. Come join us and experience the power of community. Sign up now at www.fall-in-veteran.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA. Definitely been an awesome race so far here at the Chicago, or should I say the streets of Chicago. Of course, Paul Hill knows them very well. We have him in the booth, our Stage 1 winner. Paul, I mean, it seemed like a very heated battle between you and Brandon. It seems like you guys are very, very close on pace. How's the car feeling? What do you think you need to do differently for Stage 2?
I'm going to try to just keep doing what I've been doing, honestly. The car feels great. Track's, of course, super bouncy. So just try to keep the rear tires underneath me and keep Brandon in the rear view. But it's been a lot of fun. He's a fierce competitor, so it's going to be a long 30-something laps to go. But we're going to do our best.
All right. Now, notice you didn't come down pit road, so it seems like, of course, we know that you can make it to the conclusion of Stage 2. Was there any thought of maybe popping down pit road just to, kind of get a little bit of fuel to make your pit stop shorter at the end of Stage 2?
Yeah, definitely a thought I had. But right now, trying to get some stage points. So I didn't want to take that option yet, but it is definitely something I'm considering for this second stage. We got a couple different strategies we can play out. Don't want to give away too much, but we're going to try to weigh our options depending on the gap between me and Brandon. Definitely don't want to let anyone in front of you here. It's extremely difficult to pass, super narrow.
It definitely seems like it, and it seemed like Brandon was ready to pounce on you whenever you encountered some difficulty with lap traffic. Of course, Greg Wachinski, I don't think he did anything really wrong, but it just really depends on where you catch that driver. Was that something that kind of is concerning you later in the race at lap traffic?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Greg didn't do anything wrong there. It's just a very tight track, and he had some damage, so I know his car probably wasn't operating the best to its ability, so it's definitely something you have to consider here and keep in the back of your mind. And the car behind you is definitely going to try to take the opportunity if he can get it and wedge you 2 wide or 3 wide even in some places here. So it's definitely on my mind. Just going to kind of play it by ear and see how this next stage shakes out before we make any more decisions.
All right, looks like you guys are 1 to green. Pace car lights have just gone out. Can we give anybody a shout out for you after your Stage 1 win?
Yeah, I want to shout out the boys over at Team Conti. The set's super solid tonight. It's doing really well, so I want to shout them out. Team Conti, Sim Performance, all the guys over there, and try to bring it home.
All right, Paul. Well, thanks for your time, man. Best of luck to you.
Thank you.
All right, that was Paul Hill, driver of the number 26 machine. Definitely interesting to talk to him. I love how he's a little bit tight-lipped, Big Al. You don't want to give the secrets away, and I love that there's some other strategies that maybe we don't even have in mind.
Yeah, it's just good to see that they're just good old-fashioned Americans that are out there keeping their lips sealed.
But definitely love to see, Paul. I think Paul's been a kind of a rising star in this, series.
Oh,
I mean, we
he's
haven't
risen.
seen. Oh, he's risen. To the top.
Yeah, he's risen. I mean, he's like Jesus. You know what I mean? Let's just go ahead and wrap it up for him. And he qualified very stout, Brian, on the pole. He's led every single lap. I mean, he has potential of even rolling in a hat trick here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, could he, win every stage in the race as well? There's definitely that distinct possibility from Paul Hill, for sure. I think the 26 definitely very, very strong performance at the road courses. It seems like he is cementing himself as one of the top road course drivers in this series. And I just love the fact that we do have, a lot of times you see road course races to where there's only one alien, right? One alien that drives away from the rest of the field. That's not the case here in the ISCA. You see, we got a couple aliens, and they all love to tango.
I thought you were going to say you were just glad of the fact that he was driving a Ford.
No, I was talking about having some road course ringers to duke it out here. That makes road course racing that much more exciting, in my opinion.
But he's still driving a Ford, also. I mean, you can't take that away from him.
No, you can't. I'm glad you're happy that he's driving a Ford. But here we go. We're getting closer and closer to that green flag as we start stage number 2. Of course, this is going to be pretty short stage considering the first stage was around 10 laps. Here we go, though. Pace car has dived down pit road, and the green flag is going to fly here momentarily. And there it is. Green flag is out as we start stage number 2.
Let's see if we'll make it through this first turn better on stage 2 than we did stage 1. Looks like everybody's making it through. No big issues. Paul Olsen fans way to the right, but I think that was more just trying to get out of the melee. He didn't want to take a headshot.
I think we should be talking about this, Big Al. Change for the lead. Brandon Pasalacqua has taken the lead from Paul Hill on the start. He essentially was able to kind of line him up on the exit of turn 1, and we have a new leader.
Yeah, and like Paul said, it's really difficult to pass here. So let's see if that actually becomes a factor and if actually Brandon can stay out front for the remainder of the contest.
Well, I mean, Brandon was keeping a lot of pressure on Paul Hill that entire stage 1. So I think that Brandon has got the pace to be able to stay in front of Paul. We'll have to wait and see. I do want to mention as well the lap times from these two drivers. I don't think we've talked about this. In qualifying, these guys both hit a 127, around that lap mark, really low 127. Since then, in the race itself, they've hit 126s. Paul Hill himself has hit a 126.693, which is insanely fast. These guys are just burning it down out here.
But to know they're the only two out of the entire fleet that has had a sub 127 lap. So, I mean, kudos to those two.
Oh, a lockup. A lockup there from Paul Hill. Didn't mean to interrupt you there, but yeah, kudos to those two. You're exact. I mean, that is amazing to see these guys able to have a feat like that. But Paul Hill, I think he might be buckling under pressure here, Big Al.
Well, Brandon is one of these drivers that when he gets out front, he doesn't feel the pressure where he doesn't overdrive the car. I think right now he is poised. He's confident. He's been out front a lot. He's just going to run his race, and that's going to put a lot more pressure on guys like Paul Hill that are behind him, and even Josh Hoffman. These guys are going to be pushing it a little bit further, just trying to catch up with this kid, so maybe they can actually even, notch their own belts, if you will.
Yeah, I think Paul's definitely showing enough speed, though, to catch back up to Pasalacqua because, that lockup cost Paul Hill a lot of time, but it looks like he has managed to kind of gather it back up. We do want to mention as well that, he is in dirty air. Now, I know a lot of people say, this is a road course, dirty air don't matter as much. I'd say that's true in some regards, but this next-gen car is very vulnerable to dirty air, and that could cause the car to have some understeer, which essentially for NASCAR people, that is a tight condition to where the car just doesn't want to turn. And could that be why Paul Hill had that issue? He had to kind of use the brake a little bit more than he wanted to, and that's what caused the lockup. I think that's definitely a distinct possibility as both of these drivers are battling at the moment. You can see Hill has caught up. He's about a half a second back from Pasalacqua. I love what I'm seeing from Schaffner, though. Schaffner's not that far back from these guys. He's also pulled away from DeCiani. 1.8 second gap in between third and fourth at the moment. I do also want to mention, look who's entered the top 5.
Patrick Gitter. Patrick Gitter started this thing way in the way back. He was back there with Josh Hoffner. Not Josh Hoffner, but Clayton Hoffman. But yeah, you're right. He has pecked his way through this field, Brian, and solid position there in the top 5 tonight. That is nothing to slouch out.
Yeah, I mean, of course, Patrick Gitter has never really been, I'd say, a road course ringer. He's definitely good enough in the road courses to find success. And I think that's what we're seeing tonight. I mean, looking at lap times, he's not the best out here by far, but he is top 5 worthy. And I think that's what, that's what he needs. He needs to continue. Oh, big problems. I think who is that's in the wall? That is Patrick Gitter. We were just talking about him, and he kind of does a little bit of a tank slapper there. That was quite a dramatic issue there for him. So, and this is a tough track. I mean, even for a driver like Patrick Gitter.
Well, like you said, it only takes a split second here, and everything can go wrong. So drivers have to be poised. They have to be pointed. They have to be very cognizant of everything that's going on. But, I'm giving a big shout-out to Greg Wachinski. Way to go, Greg. I mean, your car is beat up, my man, but you're still out there giving her hell. We salute you.
Definitely. Yeah, no, he deserves a salute there for sure. We got a battle on screen going on that's been really, really exciting. Matthew Cisna trying to hold off John Bender. Bender, of course, has worked his way up to the 8th place position. He is all over the rear end of the 11 of Cisna. Can he make this pass? Of course, Nick King, he's right there as well. You see Greg Wachinski, we were talking about him. He looks really fast, even with that damaged race car. Wachinski is a lap down. Can Wachinski get that lap back? I think is going to be the question. Oh, big problems. Kenny Powell.
Not sure what Kenny was thinking, but that car is totaled. He might as well go. If he can, he's going to have to try to get that thing back in and around, Brian.
Yeah, you see Kenny Powell. Looks like everything's fine right here. I think this the issue must happen in turn 2. Yep, right here, turn 2. He just gets off the corner a little bit. Oh, and look at that. Jay Hone almost completely loses it right there behind him. But what a save from Jay Hone there.
And you're going to see a lot of this going on now, man. And it's just at this stage of the competition.
Yeah.
Where you're just hoping that the guys can make it back around. Kenny Powell is going to be trying to limp it around because he does have a repairs required flag.
We got a battle for 7th, of course. So I think we just missed the pass. There has been a pass completed there for that 7th place position, or 6th place. We're going to take a replay of this pass for the 6th place position, John Bender. You'll watch him able to. You can see Cisna gets loose off the corner right here, and Bender just takes complete advantage of it down this straightaway. What an expert move there from the 23. I'll tell you what, he is one of the most improved drivers. I gotta say, Big Alvin, and he's one of our. We love to watch him race. I mean, Bender, he's in that sun drop kind of classic paint scheme. And I'll tell you, he's been really just elevating himself as this season's been progressing.
I mean, what's there not to like? Sun drop, he's a Carolina guy. I mean, heck yeah, I really digging him.
I am as well. Looks like some issues for Patrick Gitter. He has, I think, made his way down pit road. I'm going to see if I can't find out what happened to him.
Jay Holmes should be still good. I'm still showing Kenny Powell with the repairs required, but here comes Josh Schaffner as well.
Yeah, Jay Holmes, another loose condition. Oh, he saved it the last time. This time around,
he just spun out as well at the entrance to pit road. That's going to cost him a lot of time.
And that's interesting too. You see Nick King coming to pit road. And then before that, Josh Schaffner. That's incredibly interesting to me that Josh Schaffner hitting under green here.
No, he did not. He did not pit. He did not pit. Yeah, that was my bad. Schaffner did not go down pit road.
So what happened to him? Did he spin out?
No, Schaffner's good. That was my fault.
No, I'm Big Al. No, you were right. Josh Schaffner did come down pit road. I'm watching it right now. I went back into the Wayback Machine. Hit the rewind button, and Josh Schaffner did come to pit road. He's now in 7th place. He was in 3rd.
Yeah, that's what I said.
He came down pit road. Yeah, but you were saying that no, Josh Schaffner's fine. No, I was saying that is interesting. The fact that Josh Schaffner pitted. Why would you pit under green when you have a stage end coming up over here? Could this be a play for track position?
I don't know, man. I think it might have been on the same lines of what happened to King. Maybe he just got caught in a position where he had no choice but to actually take the pit road. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. I think no. I think this is a strategy call. Paul Hill comes to pit road. This is a play for track position. These guys did not pit at the end of stage 1. They're pitting now to grab some track position, I do believe, because you got to think Paul Hill got passed by Brendan Pasalacqua. Now Paul Hill should have the position over Pasalacqua at the end of stage 2. But that also brings in the question of can they make it on fuel for that final stage? This is a lot of questions. I got to say, this is definitely very interesting, to say the least.
What is it, 25 laps on a tank of fuel?
25 laps on a tank of fuel. These guys have, I think it's going to be 28 to go right now.
Yeah, but they're going to be under caution for 2 of those laps.
2 or 3 of them. Yeah, you're 100% right. So there's a lot of factors and variables in this that could change everything. If Paul Hill has issues making it on fuel, then this could be Brandon Pasalacqua's race. As I think, looks like we got something for Jay Holmes. Something happens here with him, as he has had another issue. I know he spun out and hit the wall just a moment ago, and I think this might be another issue for him. Yep, loose condition right here. Just barely.
Great stop.
Yeah, he did touch the wall, but very low speed impact there for him.
You know, like I said, some of these guys are just out there having a Sunday stroll like they're fish swimming in water, man. And some of these guys, you know, just look like me in the deep end of the pool. They're just beating the water into submission, you know. They're struggling, Brian. They're struggling.
Yeah. No, 100%. They're really struggling. I want to note Greg Wachinski. We see him on our screen. He has caught up to the back end of drivers such as Josh Schaffner and Matt Cisna. I mean, Schaffner, of course, making a pass at the moment on Cisna. Cisna not wanting to relinquish this position. But I think if Greg gets back on the lead lap, Greg has got a chance for a top 5 maybe. I mean, even though he's very damaged.
I mean, and I got you. I'm picking up everything you're putting down, but he's got to hope that no one else gets lapped. You know, last time he didn't get an opportunity to take advantage of that lucky dog because he needed to get his car fixed. Now he just slides sideways. Wachinski having big issues. Caution is out at the end of the stage. That's not going to help his case because if you slide, you're not going to be eligible for the lucky dog.
Yeah, maybe. Hopefully that slide didn't come at the wrong time. We'll have to wait and see. But the caution flag is out for stage number 2. Brandon Pasalacqua, your stage 2 winner. Matt Nisiani comes home 2nd place. Tim Wortman Jr. in 3rd. Paul Hill, after pitting, comes home 4th. John Bender with the top 5 here in stage 2. John Schaffner 6th. Matthew Cisna in 7th. Nick King 8th. Greg Wachinski 9th. And Paul Olson 10th. So good points for Paul Olson there. But we'll go ahead and take a step away. We'll pay some attention to our sponsors. And we'll come back and we'll talk to whoever Big Al wants to talk to.
You went, you served, and forged the relationships that only being baptized in the fire of combat can develop. At FallenVeteran.com, we understand the unique bond that veterans share. That's why we've created a platform where you can connect, share experiences, and build lifelong friendships with fellow veterans. Signing up is easy. Simply visit www.fall-in-veteran.com and create your profile. Customize it to reflect your military service interests and hobbies. FallenVeteran.com is more than just an online community. It's a support network where you can find resources, advice, and encouragement from those who understand what you've been through. Whether you're looking for camaraderie, mentorship, or simply a place to share your stories, FallenVeteran.com has it all. Join thousands of veterans who have already found their tribe and start connecting today. FallenVeteran.com. Come join us and experience the power of community. Sign up now at www.fall-in-veteran.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA Super Cup Series. We're going to be standing by, of course, our Big Al is going to be standing by with our Stage 2 winner, Brandon Pasalacqua. Big Al, you have the floor.
Brandon Pasalacqua, Big Al up in the booth. You got me? Yeah, Brandon, this is Big Al up in the booth. You got me? You might be muted if you're trying to talk. I can't hear you.
Hey, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, buddy. Congratulations on that stage victory right there.
Hey, thanks, Big Al. Appreciate it. It was, yeah, I mean, I got lucky there with, I think Paul just overdrove turn 1 a bit there and allowed me to get side by side with him. And then get through turn 2. It's a little bit easier to roll at the bottom there, so I think that was why I was able to get the lead. But it's been such a blast racing with Paul up there, and Josh has speed too, so it's just been a great race so far.
So, riddle me this. Is it a lot easier on you now that you're out front versus being, behind in the dirty air?
Yeah, I mean, the dirty air isn't the problem. It's your seeing your markers, right? So, like, when I was behind Paul, I couldn't really get to his bumper. If I got within 4/10, it's hard to see where my markers are, right? So it was just so hard to maximize my pace, and so that's the problem being behind another car. I think when I got the lead, I was able to run my pace, run my line, and I thought that was fast enough to hold the lead. So yeah, that's the struggle being behind another car at a street course, but it's all fun.
Now you're going to find yourself in a little bit of a struggle. I think we'll be starting this thing off in 6th place. I mean, is that going to be a challenge for you getting back up to the front, you think?
Yeah, so this is what these road courses have come down to now. It's, do you go for max stage points or do you go for the win? And I think you guys know me. I'd just rather get the guaranteed stage points, get a playoff point. You never know what can happen in the last third of the race. So, Matt did this strategy at Sonoma and it worked out for him. So it'll probably be the same, but he's going to have a hell of a fight with Paul and Josh there. So for me, I just got to worry about not getting caught up in anything right now. Then if I can just get to a, top 5 finish, I'd be more than happy. So we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, definitely looking strong here tonight, man. I don't know what it is, if it's your setup or just your driving ability, but you're putting on a clinic down there, boss.
Hey, man, I really appreciate it. Yeah, road coursing, I say it over and over again when I get an opportunity to talk to you guys. It's so much fun. It's just you and the car and the track for the most part, and then you only need to push here and there when you're trying to battle someone within the last 10 laps. So I think it's the most purest form of racing that we get now, with the way the cars are set up and so identical. So it's such a blast.
Yeah, to get a lot of time to practice. I know that the formals or the officials were not actually at the road course. So did you guys do a lot of Team X?
Yeah, so I did a lot of practice. Josh did a good amount of practice. But other than that, no one at Paradigm was interested. It's Chicago street course is such a hard track, and I understand that a lot of people don't have the urge to race here. So, but at the end of the day, I put my work in, and I put the time in. So we're gonna give it hell to the end of the race, and hopefully we can put on a show.
Hell yeah, boss. Hey, congratulations once again on your stage 2 victory. Before we let you go, who'd you shouting out?
Yeah, I give a shout out to my boys at Paradigm. Great to be with Josh. Him and I had a hell of a battle last year in this race at the end there, so it's good to see us both running up front here. Shout out to Randy, Brian, and Chris. I know that they didn't make it tonight, but always a pleasure racing with those guys. And shout out to you guys in the booth. Appreciate everything you do.
All right, boss. We'll let you get back at it. Congratulations on your stage 2 victory. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Big Al. Take care.
Alrighty, that was Brandon Pasalacqua, driver of the 6 machine. I love that, he's got the strategy already worked out. He's like, I know that those guys they were gonna pull something like that, but I'm trying to get points, and that's exactly what I think he accomplished. And one thing about it, he talked about Matt DeCiani on a strategy. Well, DeCiani has about 15 laps into a stint right now. There is absolutely no way he makes it on fuel here to the end.
Yeah, and that's just going to be unfortunate for him, man, because just like you said, you want to make the strategy so as that you give yourself an advantage or at least a better chance to win. I think at that point, it looks like they kind of handicapped themselves. Pace car's out and away. We'll be looking for the green flag. There she is.
There it is. John Bender, I want to mention as well, stayed out. He's got about 11 or so laps on his fuel tank, so he's going to be struggling to make it to the end as well. Paul Hill, though, very good start for him, already rocketing his way up to second place. Josh Schaffner, he's going to move up to third. Brandon Pasalacqua, of course, trying to work his way closer to the front. He's now already up to fourth, getting by Bender. So making quick work is the 6th of Pasalacqua, who we just talked to.
Yeah, it's
and
definitely
Matt DeCiani, hold on.
It is definitely going to be a struggle for Paul Hill, I do believe, as well as Matt DeCiani. I mean, Hill right now, he's got 6 laps on his equipment. I don't know, Brian. He's going to have to at some point at least take fuel conservation into consideration. Not going to be able to just flat-footed and live carefree. I think that's where Brandon is he's already up to third place.
Yeah, I think Brandon has got the fuel worked out. I don't think there's going to be any issue there for Brandon Pasalacqua. I think, like you said, Paul Hill, there is a question mark beside that 26. I think the hugest question mark, though, is beside Matt DeCiani, who is our leader right now. He's got about a half a second on Paul Hill. Oh, and he into the wall a little bit there goes DeCiani. I think this might be where the pass happens for the lead. As you can see, Hill trying desperately to catch up to the back of the one. You can tell he's salivating after seeing that little bit of contact from DeCiani.
So much pressure down there on the racetrack right now. Guys are pushing these cars to the limit because it's just like what Pasalacqua said. We're in that time where we're talking about playoffs where points matter. So that's even going to include your finishing position.
Well, I think, I want to talk about what he said about that. His choices that he makes on the racetrack, I think, are a stroke of genius. I mean, he says, hey, I'm not out to win the race. I want to get as many points as I can be. And that is the stages. We talked about it at the top of the broadcast, Big Al. The guy's got a 47-point lead. Oh, big problems. Matthew Cisna smashes into the wall.
Yeah, that 12 car is definitely not feeling too good right now. Let's take another look at that replay, see exactly what happened.
Yeah, I don't know what just happened to Matthew Cisna, but he just absolutely just demolished the wall. You see right there, hit right there. And that's not it. This is not it. He hits right there, and somehow it gets even worse than that. Just one corner leads to destruction in the next one. And it's a wonder no one got into him there. I'm glad no one did.
I think the situation that occurred right there for him is, Brian, he kind of got knocked off his mark. And once that happened, he was just spinning in free inertia and, just totally missed the next mark.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for him. Taking a look on board through the cockpit. And you can see, I mean, he was turning for the corner, but I just don't think he slowed down enough.
So we've lost Matthew Cisna, Alexander Carr, and Patrick Gitter.
Yeah, that's
Gitter's gotten gone.
Yeah, of course, Patrick Gitter 10 laps down. I think he was essentially just like Clayton Hoffman, just kind of pulled on off the racetrack and quit. I don't think anything really was dramatic or anything. I think just a lot of these guys are not liking the Chicago Street Course. But
there's a lot of 90-degree turns in this course.
But some guys love it. I mean, you hear Brandon Pasalacqua in that interview you just had with him. He loves this. He absolutely loves this kind of racing.
Yeah, if you figured out the 90-degree right-hand turn, you're probably going to love this track. And there's a couple 90-degree
Whoa, DeCiani losing it.
He was fishtailing.
That was a drifting. He just did some drifting there through that that section there. That's like the carousel.
Yeah, a little drift action there from Matt DeCiani. Paul Hill now on the inside. Brandon Pasalacqua's going to follow suit. These two guys both wanting to better their position. How big of a fight will DeCiani put up? That's the question.
Yeah, it looks like DeCiani definitely is putting up a fight. He's trying to hold on desperately to this lead even after that drifting session. He is still the leader. Paul Hill has not been able to make the pass.
And the key is,
like he said, has brought Pasalacqua into the fight.
Yeah, the key is DeCiani does not want to put himself in a position that he's going to ruin his race or someone else's. So it's one of those times where you don't get overly aggressive with the race car. You got to be smart. You got to conserve because there's a lot of laps left in this race, Brian, and you don't get cautions in road course racing.
No, that's for sure. There is not going to be a caution, and so DeCiani has got to mind his P's and Q's. He's got to be perfect. And he can't keep doing things like that. If he makes a mistake like that again, Paul Hill and Pasalacqua are going to pounce. They are not going to let something like that go. As, of course, we see the battle heating up for second place. Pasalacqua is all over Hill. And this is the same thing for Hill. Hill cannot make a mistake. If Paul Hill makes a mistake, Brandon's going to eat his lunch.
Yeah, Hill now having 9 laps on his car through this stint with 19 laps to go. That equals 28. I don't know, man. It's going to be tight for him, I think.
Yeah, I mean, well, if it's tight for Paul Hill, it's impossible for Matt DeCiani. I don't even know.
DeCiani's going to have to come in the pit. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And right now, with 18 laps in this stint, and he's surely got to realize that there's no cautions in street racing in the ISCA. So, I mean, those are things that you need to know. That's knowledge that you need to have.
He's made his bed. I mean, his bed has been made. That's essentially the truth of the matter. So he's going to have to pit at some point. I think you're exactly right. He is good at saving fuel. Matt DeCiani is good at saving fuel, but he ain't that good at saving fuel.
Yeah, ain't nobody saving that much gas.
He must have a hybrid or something if he's going to be able to save that much gas. Looks like we got a crash. Maybe John Bender, baby? Oh, no.
Bender, no. Yep, gets it out of control right there. You can see the tail end comes around, and there it is. Well, he does stop. Fortunately for us, no significant damage there, Brian. He's going to be able to keep it going.
Yeah, no, that's definitely good. I'm glad that he didn't destroy the race car right there. I mean, he could have easily done that, but he saved it. Very good job from Bender. He just loses one spot, so he falls back to 6th. Still a very respectable day from him. Of course, we're still watching this 3-car battle for the lead. Josh Schaffner, the last couple laps has been faster than this top 3. He might join this battle. We might have a 4-car battle for the lead. And you can see one thing I'm noticing though, Brandon is not stretching himself out. He's not driving as fast as he could. And I find that interesting. I think Brandon knows that these guys are saving. And he's like, well, okay, I'll just use this as an opportunity to kind of hang out and watch these guys. Save my stuff.
Thing he said too is the closer he gets up on to Paul Hill, the harder it is for him to see his marks. So I think at this point, he just backs off, hits his marks, doesn't put himself in a situation, and he just lets these two guys do their thing.
And he said, like he even said, he has no idea what can happen in this third, essentially, portion of this race. So, I mean, he's just going to kind of hang back and hope things fall his way. He's in striking distance. He just needs to stay in striking distance. And one thing I heard Brandon say, he said, in the last 10 laps, that's when I fight. That was something that kind of stuck out to me, Big Al, is here we go, Paul Hill trying to get to the inside, not quite able to get there. Ooh, a big wiggle there for Hill. Able to keep it going, though. I should say that was a little wiggle, but still a wiggle nonetheless. But here comes Pasalago. He tries to get underneath, not quite able to get there, as they are trying to look for anywhere that they can pass. That's the thing about this track, is that there are hardly any places to pass.
Yeah, and that's going to come up here as we get, because these guys are going to slowly catch up to the guys that are in front of them. That lap traffic, the first car being a 24 Powell. And with it being so hard to pass here, that this is going to prove to be a contingency or a sticky point.
It's definitely
not
going to be. It's going to be an obstacle. Kenny Powell is going to be a rolling chicane that they're going to have to try to get away at. And I'm not trying to pick on Kenny saying that. I'm just saying we saw it with Greg. Greg did everything he could to stay out of the way, but there is no right way to do it at this track. There's not a lot of room to play with. I mean, it just depends on where they catch him. If they catch him in the wrong spot, and I got to be honest, there's a ton of wrong spots at this track.
Yeah, this track is built with wrong spots. 26 gets a little snug with the wall there.
This is a tough place. And you can just see the 26 of Paul Hill is under so much pressure.
Yeah, he's feeling it too, Brian. You can tell that Brandon Pasalaco is fogging up his mirrors. I mean, that's how close he is to him, and it's definitely causing Hill to be a little bit more uncomfortable as he's still not yet able to get around the one of Matt DeCiani. But here comes Powell. Powell's going to stay up high against the wall. Everybody's going to get by him just in time to come back down, make the next turn. So Kenny Powell, no factor.
That was a best case scenario. That worked out probably as good as it could have. They caught him on one of the straightaways, which is perfect. So that worked out really, really well. Of course, they still do have, I'm sure, some other drivers that they're going to catch up to.
Yeah, but it's going to be so far away. I'm honestly going to say that lap traffic is not going to be a factor in this contest here this evening.
You got Paul Hill, or not Paul Hill, should say Paul Olson. He's going to be the next driver they probably encounter. But that is going to be quite a ways away.
Yeah, by the time we get to him, I think DeCiani's already going to have to. DeCiani's going to have dealt with this situation at hand, and that's the fact that him's running out of gas, Brian.
Yeah, he is. I mean, he's got to be running out of gas. That's why I think this battle for the win is essentially between second and third right now. Paul Hill and Brandon Pasalaco. That's the battle. Matt, I think Matt's having a Sunday stroll right now. He's not he's not the lead. I mean, he is the leader, but I think when the checker flag is waving, he won't be the leader.
Yeah, he's dealing with his own demons right now. How about that?
I mean, he has 22 laps into this stint right now, and we still have, I think, over 15. I think we're at about 14 to go. 14 to go right now. So, I mean, at the end of the race, he's going to be, I think, 30 laps or so on the clicker. Even
he's not. He's going to have to pit. It's just a matter, like I said, it's a matter of when, not if. And so we're watching him. We'll see when he comes in.
Yeah, and he'll probably just take fuel only, I would assume, just a splash of gas and try to get going as quickly as he can. But, either way, it's going to be, unless he builds up a monstrous lead on Paul Hill and Brandon Pascalacqua, it's not going to matter. As it looks like, I think we got Nick King down pit road right now. Nick King coming to pit road. Let's see, is this a quitting call or is this just a pitting for gas call?
He does have Nick King has that dreaded repairs required flag.
Oh no, so maybe
not sure what happened and when it happened, but that might be something we want to look into.
It seems like we might have some sort of replay. Maybe we can see exactly what happened here to Nick King. And this is it. Yeah, boom, right there. That is a broke toe link. I'm guaranteeing you that's exactly what, because, the way he hit, the angle he hit right there is probably exactly why he had to come down pit road. So definitely that's unfortunate for him. Nick King sits in seventh. He has made his way back onto the racetrack, so at least there is that. As the battle for the top three still hot right now is all three drivers within a second. I gotta take my hat off and give a bow to every single one of the drivers that are still driving out here right now, even after just having the things going wrong that has gone wrong. Like Greg Wyszynski, Nick King, John Bender. Jay Holm. All these guys that have had just terrible things happen to them during this race, even at the beginning of this race, and they still are driving. I got to give them a lot of credit, Big Al.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. And I think that's the key. Just to get out there, get the laps in, keep this thing competitive, keep it interesting. Still watching Matt DeCiani. He is literally 23 laps on his car right now, so which means he's starting to get a little thirsty.
Oh, I bet he definitely is. I'll tell you who's getting real thirsty, though, is Brandon Pascalacqua. Pascalacqua continues to look to the inside of Paul Hill. He's just not able to get side by side. But it seems like every chance he gets, he's trying to open a door. And I think that's all he needs. If Brandon was able to maybe get side by side with Paul, he might be able to take that second spot away. But it's just there's not a lot of opportunities to do that. And you can see that just the battling has been so intense. Let's take a ride on board with Pascalacqua for a couple laps here. I think that'd be a really interesting watch. We haven't really gotten an eye view like this, kind of a driver's eye view. Loving this. Just watching these guys go around the track, and we're getting a view, just how bumpy this place is, Big Al. I think we kind of forget that this place is a racetrack that has essentially been built in downtown Chicago on street course. This is a street course, as street as it gets.
Yeah, right. And it was designed by the nice folks over at iRacing. So, who better to come up with something as fancy as this so we can actually go here? And what a better backdrop. Look at the pictures there. Look at this downtown Chicago. It's the skyline.
Yeah, but these guys are also having to go over actual road. It's just like me driving around, my town and hitting a pothole. These guys are having to, go over every dimple and groove on the actual city streets. So, if you're a person that lives near Chicago or who have been to Chicago and driven around this downtown area, this is the same thing these guys are racing on.
I'm just glad nobody got jacked.
That's that's a good point. It seems like the racing there, the event itself has been very, very successful, and it sounds like they're definitely wanting to do more of it.
Because a city like Chicago, I'm going to say this, people will be like, "Why did you say that?" But it's one of those scenarios where the pace car gets carjacked. You know what I mean?
It's a dangerous city. I know you're being honest and realistic. It is a dangerous city. It can be very dangerous, and a lot of people, do suffer from, criminal. There is a criminal element there, of course, like any city. But Chicago is definitely well known for being a dangerous place. As the race for that second place position still hot and on fire right now as we're coming up now. 10 laps to go.
And Matt DeCiani is right at the end of his fuel prediction window. So, and he's fast, Brian. He's super fast. That car is on the pace. I don't understand where the disconnect came, because had he simply pitted with those guys, I mean, he would still be in contention to win this thing.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I don't know where the disconnect is as well. Oh, there he goes. Oh, big hit on the wall from Matt DeCiani. Whoa. That might have just, I'm surprised he's still going. I mean, Paul Hill hit the wall as well a little bit, but not as hard as you can see right here. We got the replay already dialed up for us. And right here, he just cooks it. And boom, right into the outside wall. Very hard. I think maybe the brakes failed on him. You can see them things glowing, just red hot.
Well, he's still under pressure of the guys
and
behind him.
He's still in the lead. Even after that, he's still in the lead.
He is feeling the pressure of the guys behind him, and he's trying to figure out this fuel thing. You know, they're running their head. They've run the numbers 10 different ways to Sunday. They know they're not going to have enough. They're watching the European model. They're watching it. You know, it's just not going to work. And so with all of that, he's just trying to stay out front for as long as he can, Brian.
Yeah, I don't know what he can do. I mean, I don't know if they can get like an airplane to come in and fuel him up while he's still racing. I don't know, you know, like how they fuel mid-flight. I don't think that works in racing.
Yeah, I don't think
that was scary. I thought, oh, there's another hit. You can see DeCiani is struggling with the handling of his race car as well. Somehow he's still staying competitive while still hitting the wall. That looked like that could have been the end of his race, though, with that accident there. He goes through the same section again. Looks like he got through that section better than he did last time. But I think you're right. I think the pressure of the mounting fuel concern, as well as the charges that are coming from, you know, his rear end. As you can see, you know, Paul Hill wanting to win this race. Brandon Pasalacqua wanting to win this race.
Everyone wants to win this race, and somebody's going to win it. We just can't call the winner right now. Still got a lot of racing left to do. And like I said, this is one of those road courses, so there's not going to be a full course yellow. We're all eagerly anticipated to see what this strategy is.
Yeah, I don't know what his strategy is. He doesn't strike me as a person that makes too many mistakes. But then again, I think back, and DeCiani is going to hate me for mentioning this because I know he has mentioned that it's something I never have let him live down. And a long time, I think it was last year, not last time we were at Sonoma, but last year when we were at Sonoma, Matt DeCiani was the absolute dominator of the race. He absolutely dominated the race at Sonoma. Ran out of gas and lost the race because he ran out of gas. So there is a history of him making mistakes like this. They catch up to Kenny Powell at the wrong time. Woo, this could be bad. Powell trying to stay out of the way. Powell's blocking these guys. This is looking like a scary ordeal here. What was Kenny thinking there?
I don't know if he was. I think he just kind of got caught up in the moment there when he was just totally enveloped by faster cars.
Well, that has caused a change for the lead, and there goes DeCiani. He gets turned around by Brandon Pasalacqua.
Sideways.
There's a lot to unpack here as you see Josh Schaffner has to essentially come to a stop in order to avoid hitting DeCiani. As you can see, Pasalacqua gets to the inside of DeCiani and unfortunately turns him.
I think that's just a classic case of, you know, Brandon got sick of waiting.
He got sick of following behind Matt DeCiani. He saw an opportunity, but I think that was the wrong corner to try to pass in. And I also think these guys were already as well a little bit, I'd say their heartbeats were probably pretty high after having to deal with Kenny Powell. I mean, imagine having to deal with that, and then right away, you know, I think Brandon just saw the sand of the hourglass running out, and he's like, I got to get by DeCiani to get up to Paul Hill, and he pounced when I think he should have waited a second.
Bill patiently, eagerly waiting the anticipated stop of the one car, Matt DeCiani.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's now back in 4th place. So I'm definitely very curious to see when he'll stop. Surprised that, looks like the damage wasn't too severe on DeCiani, but that definitely slowed down Josh Schaffner quite a bit. Schaffner wasn't that as far back. Oh, problems for Jay Hone. He hits the wall right in front of leader Paul Hill. This could be bad for Hill. I think Hill gets by him. But, wow, that was a scary ordeal for Hill right there. He almost probably thought saw his race flash before his eyes.
Yeah, another driver having a hard time here tonight. Jay Hone, I mean, he is literally, he's been no stranger to the wall.
No, he has definitely had his fair share of struggles here tonight. One thing about it, though, because of the Paul Hill kind of slowing down. Oh, there goes DeCiani. So we knew DeCiani was going to eventually have to come to pit road. And he's just parked. He is done for the night.
5 to go, and he's on pit road, man. Just not the way you want to slice your cake.
Yeah, well, it looks like he actually has called it quits completely. I don't believe he's not gonna finish in 6th. He's gonna probably finish back in 8th or 9th. So that's unfortunate for DeCiani. I'm curious what the plan really was there. I mean, I think it was a mystery on why he didn't pit with those other drivers to be able to make it on fuel. But I guess that's just going to be a mystery for us, as we're now, like you mentioned, coming up to 5 laps to go. Paul Hill has a 1.9 second gap back to Brandon Pasalacqua. Pasalacqua has been incredibly fast here. Can he get that gap down? Can he catch up to Paul Hill? Does Paul Hill make a mistake? I mean, this is a track to where it's very easy to get lulled, I think, into a false sense of security. Does Paul Hill overbreak one of these? We've seen him lock it up before.
Yeah, I think at this point, with 5 laps to go, Hill has to just take his time in his own cockpit. If he's out of his cockpit and he's paying more attention to the relatives than he is to his own markers, then he's going to have a hard time, because we know Brandon's fast. He's just looking for any mistake that he can.
A little bit of a hit on the wall there for Paul Hill. It looks like we have a crash. Looks like Jay Hone coming out of pit road here. I think maybe an issue. Yeah, I think we actually, a little bit of a false alarm there. Thought Jay Hone had a crash. He was going so slow, but it seems like that's not the case. But Paul Hill still in control right now. He did touch the wall before we went to that replay. So it does look like he is trying to drive his car a little bit hard. I also want to mention, Big Al, we still haven't cleared Paul Hill when it comes to fuel either, though. Does he have enough gas to make it? I mean, last lap since pit, he pitted 23 laps ago.
It's going to be close.
It's going to be really close.
He's going to be in that same window that Matt DeCiani was. Same amount of laps under the same kind of conditions and circumstances. DeCiani was actually out for 20. Now, right now, with 24 laps on his equipment, it's 4 to go. He's going to be right there at the edge of it, Brian.
Yeah, and we really don't know, did DeCiani pit because he absolutely had to? Like that's kind of my question. If he had to absolutely pit because of the fuel, then we would know that this is the absolute fuel run. Because, I mean, of course, we have the variables of the caution laps that these guys turned. How much fuel did that actually save? As you can see, Hill, once again, coming up to Jay Hone. Hone gets out of the way. He's going to come to a stop almost, as he does allow Brandon Pasalacqua as well to get by. I think Paul Hill and Brandon Pasalacqua have been the conversation pieces of the night, as well as Matt DeCiani. But one driver we haven't talked a lot about as much as we should is Josh Schaffer. I mean, look at him, well secured in third place. I mean, he's been a fantastic run here tonight, hanging out in third. Tim Wortman Jr., another guy that's had a really great run. He's in fourth, top 5. This guy has been nailing every race, it seems like, just with his performances. John Bender, he's another. We talked about how improved he is.
That's my Carolina buddy.
5th. He's in 5th. I mean, that's a nice top 5 finish if he keeps this up. But at the moment, Paul Hill in control. Coming up to 2 laps to go here at the Chicago Street Course. What an exciting race we have had here tonight. I do want to mention, I do believe next week we're going to be heading to the Tricky Triangle. You're probably wondering, well, NASCAR was at the Tricky Triangle just a couple weeks ago. Well, we did have, iRacing had a DDoS attack that caused us to not be able to actually have that race. So we have rescheduled the Pocono race for next week, and we will be having it then. So the Tricky Triangle, that's going to be a fun one. I actually love Pocono. I felt really comfortable riding around that racetrack. It takes a lot of shifting. You do some shifting at that track. Every corner is different. So it's not an oval at all. It is the Tricky Triangle. It's going to be 2.5 miles of high-octane action. I can't wait to see what that looks like next week. Of course, here we go now. 2 laps to go for driver Paul Hill. He won stage 1, and it looks like he's going to see if he could possibly get it done here. He's got enough of a gap right now. I think if he just keeps his head down, like you said, drives his own car, I think he's got it sewn up.
Yeah, well, Brandon's not gonna relent on his pursuit to say, but I think Hill's got a pretty good opportunity of putting this thing in the books.
Well, we also got to keep in mind, Brandon Pasalacqua. We heard him say it during the interview. I'm trying to get points. I'm trying to get a consistent finish. That's how he's got a 47 point lead in the standings. It's because he makes those choices about consistency. He makes those choices about points. That's what's important. That's what gets you to the to a championship. And I think that's what Brandon knows. He knows that's how I'm going to win a championship for the Paradigm team. So I think that's I don't think he's going to push it too hard. I don't think he's going to push it on Paul Hill here, because he knows that if he pushes it too hard, he risks it. As now, here we go. Paul Hill crossing the checkered flag, the start-finish line for the white flag. 1 lap to go. Gap right now, 2.5 seconds between Paul Hill and Brandon Pasalacqua. All Paul Hill has to do, hold on for 1 lap. As he comes down.
1 more lap.
Yep, 1 lap. Can he get through these corners without making a mistake? That's going to be the key. Don't make a mistake. All it takes is 1 hit on the wall at the wrong time to cause him to lose this race. He is coming up on lap traffic. Kenny Powell.
That's Kenny Powell.
And Kenny Powell is probably the most dangerous lap car on the track.
as we previously were introduced.
We've already seen that. And Kenny's probably going to fire me for saying that, but I mean, he definitely was the most dangerous.
Well, we got to see what it do. Matt getting by this time
It's Paul.
with little to no opposition. I meant Paul, sorry. But look at the lead that Paul Hill was actually able to put onto Brandon Pasalacqua, especially at the end. As the lap started to soon to count down, it just seemed that he just got more confident and faster along the trail.
Yeah, no, it definitely. I mean, Paul, very confident, I think. I mean, both him and Brandon were just very competitive. They were able to turn the fastest laps of the race. So I definitely think Paul got really, really comfortable there towards the end, especially, you know, he just started running his own race. I think that was the key. But Paul Hill, your winner here tonight at Chicago, and the Goodies Headache Powder 100. What an event for the 26. He won stage number 1, and he wins the race. What a dramatic race it was today as well, considering we had Matt DeCiani, who didn't have enough fuel to make it. Also saw a lot of drama from lap traffic, as we mentioned previously.
You mean Kenny?
Yeah, Kenny. I mean, Kenny did cause the lead change that we saw that allowed Paul Hill to take the lead.
Yeah, when you
Paul
say
Hill was in second place. Paul was in second. Matt DeCiani came up on Kenny Powell, and that's when Paul Hill was able to take first.
Now, they also did have a little bit of a run-in with DeCiani as well.
Well, that's true, but I'm just saying that the whole reason the lead change happened was because Kenny Powell got in the way of it was a three-way battle for the lead. And yeah, you're right. DeCiani did hit the wall. I mean, DeCiani was making mistakes, and it you know, it just I'm wondering
so
what.
You're all Kenny.
Out.
You're all Kenny on that accident.
Kenny, yeah. I got to be honest. That's the whole reason the lead change happened. I mean, and Kenny's probably going to hate me for saying it, but I mean, and I don't think he necessarily was trying to get in the way on purpose, but it was weird the way that whole thing worked out. I mean, I don't think he was trying to get in the way. I think he, like you said, I think he got caught with, you know, kind of like a deer in headlights. I don't think he expected the leaders to be right behind him. I don't know if he was aware that they were there. But let's take a look down the running order before I lose my job. Paul Hill, our winner here tonight. Brandon Postlock was second place. John Schaffner finishes third. Tim Wortman Jr. fourth. John Bender in fifth. Nick King in sixth. Greg Wachinski rallying back to seventh. Matt DeCiani, he finished eighth. Jay Hone in ninth. And Kenny Powell in 10th.
That's going to put Paul Osen in 11th with Matt Cisna in 12th. 13th place shows Patrick Gitter, 14th Alexander Carr, 15th Clayton Hoffman, in the 16th car Derek Heitman. Hey, that's going to do it for that part of the night show. We're going to take a brief break, get a couple words from our sponsors. We'll be right back with our post-race coverage.
Ow. Ew. Ow. Ew.
Want relief from tough pain without the tough taste? Try Goodies Cool Orange. Goodies fast, Goodies delicious. Because pain relief shouldn't be a pain to take. Goodies flavors, taking the pain out of pain relief.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the iRacing Stock Car Association Super Cup Series as we just concluded the race here at Chicago for the Chicago Street Course. Of course, we're going to go ahead and get right on into our podium interviews. First off, we're going to talk to Josh Schaffner, driver of the 50 machine. Josh, how you doing?
Doing good. How about you guys?
Doing great, man. I mean, I tell you, what a race we saw from you here tonight. It seemed like you were right on pace with Pasalacqua and DeCiani and Paul Hill in a lot of ways. I think that, if things hadn't you got slowed down quite a bit by that kind of incident. Where do you think you would have lined up? Do you think you would have been able to catch that top three and battle with them, or do you feel like third was kind of as best you can get there?
Yeah, I was probably a fourth place car. Paul and Brandon and Matt were really good, and I was able to pace them there a little bit in stage 3. And they were just a couple tenths better than me. Kind of on average, I wasn't far off. Was really close. Just just needed a little bit better job of just management corners. My lack of speed here is from overdriving, and definitely got better as the race went on. But those three are great, and I kind of got to a point where it's like I should just probably ride here in fourth. And for how good all three of those were, and being that they were all together bumper to bumper, I thought there was a risk late in the race that there could be an incident or someone could overdrive a corner, and that might have been my best path to get on a podium. And that's just kind of the way it worked out. Hate to see if they had some trouble. They were having a great battle, but it's tough to pass here. It's tight quarters, and my strategy of being a fourth place car worked out, and my only chance on the podium was for a mistake up front, and it worked out for me tonight.
Yeah, definitely did. Great job to you, though, Josh. Of course, able to secure third. I mean, what kind of preparation have you been putting in? I mean, it seems like it really shows that your road course ability has very much increased.
Yeah, I kind of built off of this from last year. Had a really good. I think I finished third here last year too, and last year I was probably maybe even a little better than Brandon down the stretch there, and I think we both even improved from that. But yeah, worked on this quite a bit. Kind of during the official week here, we were off for the 4th of July, but ran some races there, did some laps, and actually kind of ran. We kind of ran a unique setup last year. Actually, kind of brought that back and didn't run anything new, and we just really liked that setup. So our setup was quite a bit different than I think a lot of people ran, and our shifting is a little different than maybe some others. But we're just really comfortable with it. And when you come to Chicago, the setup matters, but it's more about a setup that's just comfortable for you. And we just couldn't find anything that we liked better, from this season of road course racing. So we went right back to what we knew, and I'd say overall we were probably just as good, if not a little bit better than we were last year.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like you guys had a very, very competitive speed. That's for sure. So it seems like you guys definitely picked the right setup for sure. Well, next week we're going to be, of course, going to another track that's different than the officials, Pocono. What do you think about that? Were you able to run some A-Opens there?
Yeah, I did run one, and unfortunately ended up in a big crash there, so I didn't get a lot of information there. And so we'll have to kind of work on it as a team and try to get some cars out there and work on it. It's a track that you need at least 4 or 5 cars to kind of get decent practice data with the draft and traffic there. But we'll try to work on that as a team, and look forward to it. I enjoy that racetrack. It's kind of a challenging track, and I think I partially like it just because it's so much different than everywhere else we go. But looking forward to it, and we'll do some work and see if we can continue to put together some good finishes here.
All right, Josh, we'll definitely keep going. We definitely love to see the Corn Man up on the podium. Who can we shout out?
Yeah, certainly want to congratulate Paul Hill on the win. He did a great job tonight, and he wheeled that thing. I give him credit. I felt like he was the most out of control. But man, he was really aggressive in some of those technical sections. And if you can do that, that's how you go faster. And he was awesome. And congrats to teammate Brandon on the win. And I hate that Matt had some trouble there, but he was fast tonight too. And great shout out to Tim Wortman and John Binder there. Great top 5s for them. And then from there, just want to thank Paradigm Motorsports and shout out to Brian and Randy and Chris. I wish they were out here tonight, but they had some things going on. But we'll catch up with them again soon. And you always want to thank Pioneer Seeds, the sponsors, and Ram Welding and Southern Spiral Pipe, and obviously you guys up the booth, Kenny, for running a great league. And I think that's about the list all I got for tonight, guys.
All right, Josh, we'll definitely appreciate your time, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.
All righty, that was Josh Schaffner, driver of the 50 machine. Next up, Big Al is going to be talking once again with Brandon Pasalacqua, our second place finisher.
Brandon Pasalacqua, Big Al up in the booth. You got me?
Gotcha, Big Al.
Hey, man, well, seems like we keep meeting in the same spot. Me, number 2, you, number 2. So what happened there, bud? What do you think happened to you? I mean, and feel free to blame Kenny Powell if you want to.
Well, I would say I probably need probably a 30-minute cool down, but Matt, Paul, and I were battling great together, and it was so much fun. And one car was better in another zone, the other car was better than the next, and so that's great battling. But there's race etiquette, and there's some things that just should not happen. And for us to be dodging a lap car on the backstretch there, and all three of us making contact, there's no room for it. And that's, like I said, I probably need a 30-minute cool down session, but that's not how it should be done. So. And that ultimately, led to Matt and I getting together. And at that point, for me, I probably should just let Matt have it. But I also was getting held up for 15 laps, and my nose also got cut off multiple times prior to that. At some point, I got to race for myself and do what I got to do to put myself in the best position. Not to say it was okay to keep my nose on Matt's rear, but at the end of the day, I got to try to go get mine as well. And I'll take full blame for that. But at the end of the day, it was a great racing. Paul was a hell of a wheel man, and Matt did a great job with strategy. But it is frustrating where I thought I had definitely a winning car there at the end, and just couldn't capitalize.
Yeah, man, that's unfortunate because you guys unloaded a rocket ship and you were running this track like it was a maze. But hey, nonetheless, next week we head to Pocono. What are you thinking about that one?
Yeah, Pocono should be fun. Should be interesting. I didn't get to race there when the officials went there. I always compare Pocono and Indy. They're similar in a lot of ways, especially that tunnel turn over there in turn 2. So we'll just work on the setup and see what kind of pace we can bring to the track for sure.
Think you're gonna have more practice laps this week versus next week versus this week?
I'm going to try to chill out a little bit with the practice laps going to Pocono and just let it ride. I'll do a few, but, obviously Chicago Street Course is a difficult track just to get around. Nonetheless, not hit a wall. So hopefully next week's a little bit less preparation.
Roger that, boss. Once again, I'm going to get ready to get out of here and let you go. But before we do, who you shouting out tonight for your second place finish?
Yeah, just congratulations to Paul. Drove an excellent race. And, definitely fastest car there at the end, so I'm glad he was able to get the job done. And again, just want to apologize to Matt. That was did not mean to. I messaged him already, and I do feel bad about that because that's not what I come out here and want to do, and want to race everybody with good etiquette. So apologize there, but great shout out to Josh on his pace tonight and speed and the podium. Like he said, we were fat. We did a good job last year. I think we both finished in second and third respectively last year, and he was faster than me then. So good to see him up here. Shout out to my boys at Paradigm, Brian, Chris, and Randy that weren't here. Shout out to Kenny and everything he does for the league. We appreciate it. And then you guys in the booth. Thank you.
Hey, man, we appreciate you too. And as I always say, don't party too hard. We'll see you next week.
Take care.
All right, that was Brandon Pasalacqua, driver of the 6 machine. Next up, we're going to be talking to the 26, Paul Hill, who was able to win the race. He won stage 1 as well. Led, I do believe, the most laps of the night, 20 laps out front. Paul, what a race for you, man. I mean, you seemed like you just had it all together here, and you're able to keep it together there towards the end, even when drama started striking.
Yeah, it was an awesome race. I definitely want to shout out Brandon and Matt there. That was a lot of fun with them. Really felt like it could fall any of our way. Thankfully, it fell my way tonight, so I'm super grateful for that. But Brandon and them raced me fair and clean, and there was a lot of give and take. I hate to see that's kind of how it ended up kind of folding out, was factors outside of our control of just us three, but that's racing sometimes. And I do appreciate them. It was a lot of fun. The car was incredible here. It's actually one of my first times on the track was official week a couple weeks ago, and so I just kind of rolled it back in here with the same setup from Team Conti, and it was phenomenal. The car felt awesome. Just had to be mindful of the walls, of course.
That's definitely interesting that you don't have a whole lot of experience with this racetrack, and a lot of these, these guys we're talking about, they ran last year, and now this is kind of your first year with this racetrack, and to see you perform so well. I mean, I do want to ask, like, what is your road course background? Because it seems like that's where you've been shining when we've seen you race. I think at Sonoma you were really fast as well.
Yeah. I come from road racing, so that's definitely my strong suit. So every chance I get to get on one of these left and right hand tracks, I do really well. It's a little different than what I used to race, considering these have no traction control or ABS, but it kind of fits my style. Kind of crab the car out and yaw it around the corners, and a little bit out of control, but it's fast. Car rewards you if you're a little bit aggressive. So I really enjoy it. Like I said, it was a lot of fun. Brandon and Matt were phenomenal all night. I mean, getting around each other was just so difficult here. And like I said, I am really grateful that they raced me fair and clean that whole way through. And, like I said, it is unfortunate that's how it ended. But, up to that point, I felt like it could have gone anyone's way.
For sure, and definitely fantastic performance. You've been heating up, and you have, I think, cemented yourself as a star here in this series now. Every week we look forward to seeing what you can pull out. Can you win, maybe at Tricky Triangle? I mean, that kind of has some road course qualities as well. What do you think about Pocono?
It's actually one of my favorite tracks. I absolutely love it. I'm not necessarily fast there, but I do love the complexity of the 3 turns and the differences in them. So I always enjoy going there. Hopefully get another really solid top 5 finish next week. I'm really looking forward to it, though.
We're definitely looking forward to seeing it as well, Paul. Congratulations on the win. Who can we shout out, I do believe, for your first ISCA victory?
Yeah, I'd like to shout out Team Conti Sim Performance once again for the setup. It was phenomenal. I did really well with it. Want to shout them out. Want to shout out Kenny for the league, and you guys up in the booth for doing such a great job, and everyone here that I get to race week in and week out that, race with respect. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'm fairly new to the league, and I just want to shout out everyone here racing fairly, and, I look forward to this every Thursday. So I appreciate you guys, and I appreciate everyone out on the track with me.
All right. Well, thanks for your time, and we appreciate you as well, Paul, for definitely kind of giving us a new variable to watch out on the racetrack. Somebody else that is capable of winning it. It definitely adds to the league for sure, Paul, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you.
That was Paul Hill, driver of the 26 machine. Definitely a really dominant finish here tonight. Of course, he was up against some of the best road racers in the ISCA, and can't wait to see what these guys can pull out at Pocono, which is kind of super speedway / road course. Big Al, what are you thinking of tonight's race? Any final thought?
Man, I'm thinking that I was very blessed to be seated where I was versus behind the wheel of one of those things. But hey, to all of the guys that came, that showed, that did it, man, congratulations to you. No small feat. We appreciate you. Thanks, Kenny, for doing what you do. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Kobe. And thank everybody for watching, man. Let's wrap it up.
Yeah, definitely was a good race here. A good trip to the Chicago Street Course. I definitely will remember this one for quite some time for sure. Congratulations to Paul Hill. Of course, to Brandon Pasalaco getting second place, as well as John Schaffner for grabbing third, and as well as some other interesting top 5 finishers. Tim Wortman Jr. fourth, John Bender in fifth. I just got to give him a whole lot of credit. Seeing Bender up in fifth, that 23 Sundrop machine, you love to see it. But of course, we want to shout out as well everybody that watched and tuned in here tonight. Make sure you like and subscribe to us on YouTube. Of course, follow us on Facebook and like our Facebook. But definitely looking forward to next week at Pocono. Make sure you tune in. The broadcast begins or goes live at around 9:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The race itself goes green a little after 9:30. We look forward to seeing you there at the Tricky Triangle. I know it's going to be exciting. There's going to be some 3-wide racing. There's going to be a lot of drafting, and there's also going to be some shifting as well. Could be some big crashes. I think it's going to be fun. I can't wait for it, but we'll see you there on the ISCA Super Cup Series.
I found the ISCA after I'd been in the service for a long time. I'd been in iRacing for well over a decade and spent most of my time in NASCAR series, a lot of fixed racing for the most part, and really just got to a point in my iRacing career where I really wanted to get involved in open setup racing versus fixed, partially because I was just looking for a little higher level of competition, maybe a little cleaner driving, and maybe get away from some of the challenges that go along with fixed racing on the service. And it took me a while as I was really searching out leagues because I kind of had a very specific thing I was looking for. A, I wanted to be an established league. B, I just really wanted clean, quality drivers to be racing around. And once I found the ISCA, I found out really quick that